Have you ever had a crush on someone and instantly felt infatuated, feeling like you're possibly in love with them and you're meant to be and you guys should get married and have kids and all these things, and you literally just met them? Or maybe you haven't even actually met them. Maybe you just listen to their music, or you stalk their page, or you know of them, or whatever it is. You fall in love with the idea of someone and not truly who they are, because the facts are you don't know them.
Then you may be experiencing limerence. Limerence is an overwhelming desire for reciprocation from a specific person. You can feel, like Summer said, instant infatuation, profound
Obsession.
longing, love addiction, basically.
The healthy way of getting to know somebody and falling in love is truly getting to know them, is taking time, slowing it down, getting to truly know their personality, not just their outside appearance and the ideas that you may have of them. When you're experiencing limerence, you will often put a person on a pedestal that they'll never be able to reach. You create ideas in your head and you fill in data where there is none. So let's say you just met a guy and you go on his Instagram or social media and you see that he has one picture of a kid and you just like assume, oh, he loves kids. He's so nurturing. He's so amazing. Like, you take one little part of information and you dramatize it and emphasize it to be something way more than it is. And you almost create a personality for this person before actually knowing their real personality. And I have personally experienced this probably with every crush I've ever had. Like as a kid and even in adulthood, I have been the type of girl that doodles her crush's name on a notebook, that writes like Summer and then their last name, and thinks about like our wedding day and all these crazy things before I've even like truly gotten to know somebody, before we've even exchanged I love yous or anything like that. My brain can just get ahead of me and I just start to almost daydream and create scenarios. And in my head, they're just perfect. Like everything is perfect about them. They can't do no wrong.
Yep, you ignore their red flags. You ignore signs of incompatibility because you're so focused on the traits that you do like.
Yes. And also what Abby said earlier, reciprocation, receiving that love or affection, attention from that person. It feels so overwhelmingly good, even if it's just a small bit of attention, a bare minimum amount of attention. It feels so good because it's coming from that person. Why this is unhealthy is because when you're experiencing this, it's often in a situation where the relationship isn't reciprocal or it isn't equal in the amount of attention and affection, and that kind of feeling of being rejected or neglected, it puts you further in wanting to and yearning for that attention and yearning for that person to like you, because you're thinking, why don't they? I mean, I'm amazing. I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I like them. Why don't they like me? When's the first time that you feel like you experienced limerence?
The first time, probably when I was really young, maybe in like kindergarten, when I had my first crush on someone. I would basically fantasize of us being together, or like him hugging me, something really innocent because we're super young. But at this point, I didn't know who he was. We barely talked, but just the idea of him liking me, it was intense. It felt good.
Where do you think it stems from?
I think limerence stems from trauma. It could be
Like
childhood neglect, your attachment styles also.
Like if you experience very neglectful parents growing up, then you're probably more prone to experience limerence, because you see that dynamic as love. That is something that you may seek or subconsciously desire, even though on its face we talk about it and you think like, why would anyone want that? Why would anyone want a love that's not reciprocal, or to be chasing somebody, or to be thinking about them all day, and like they might not even be thinking about you like that. Why would anyone want to do that? People do that with celebrities, and for me that was a big thing when I was a kid. I would daydream about me and Nick Jonas being together and like our kids when the first time we meet, and just like all these crazy things. And when you think about it, I mean, I was a kid at the time. The Jonas Brothers were really big too. I have done that with like real relationships, real people, not celebrities that I truly don't know. They don't know me, but where I have idolized them and I have seen them to be way greater, I don't want to say than they are, but just a different version of them in my head. And sometimes we can get into trouble with that kind of thinking, because then we fall in love with potentials of people, and we also may want to even change people to be that idea of what we think they are, and then we can be very shocked and surprised when it turns out they're not exactly that fairy tale that we dreamed up. What would you say are some symptoms or signs of it?
When you have an interest in someone and it's not just a simple crush, it's instant infatuation. You're daydreaming about them most of the time.
Maybe you can't stop thinking about them.
Yeah, maybe even more than you've actually seen them in person. You ignore red flags. You find yourself creating scenarios, daydreaming.
And this also can be troublesome because it can make you want to jump or rush a relationship.
Most of the time you're obsessing over a person that you don't know. Like it can be imagined, like this person. And so you kind of set yourself up for disappointment, and it's almost like going through heartbreak when there really wasn't a relationship to begin with.
As Abby said, it not only sets you up for disappointment, but it builds resentment towards somebody. Attachment styles that are more likely to experience this are anxious or disorganized attachment.
I've also heard of like avoidant attachment, where the person that they're in limerence with may not be as interested in them. Therefore, there's no chance for them to lose them or like get attached to them. There's no room for a level of intimacy, so they can stay in that limerent mindset for as long as they want, if that makes sense. There's no risk of them getting too close to you.
So what would you suggest that people do about it?
To break free from limerence or being in limerent, recognize when, like some signs, I guess, like recognize when you find yourself like daydreaming about them a lot, obsessing over them. Getting
ahead of yourself, rushing the relationship, like having the awareness to realize that maybe the reciprocation isn't equal. Instead of pushing to be closer, maybe take a step back and see if that person pulls closer to you, rather than trying to have a one-sided relationship or progress the relationship on your own.
Assess your thoughts and your emotions when you're feeling very intensely towards a specific person, especially when
and
you just met
suddenly
them. Yeah. Really analyze your thoughts and regulate your emotions. Choose which emotions to engage with and which ones to just let go. Do some inner child work. Heal your past traumas so that you're not re-experiencing them today.
Spend more time just outside with your friends, with your family, doing hobbies, having a life, so you're not just at home all day doing nothing, thinking about somebody.
Ruminating. Don't want to do that.
If the relationship isn't reciprocal and it isn't a healthy one, or it's not going to continue, then you have to make the decision to cut off the emotional tie, which means not stalking that person's page, not constantly doing things that make you think of that person. Otherwise, you may just stay in a limerent state of mind while that other person is moving on, and that's not going to feel good. It's better to just heal and realize what you can control and what you cannot. You cannot control another person's feelings, another person's actions. only your own, and reassess and do other things to fill up your time, your energy, and your emotional space. This isn't to put shame on anyone, because as me and Abby have said, we both have experienced this. We both have been through this. Almost every relationship I've had has kind of started out that way, where it was an instant connection and I'm immediately fantasizing about them. I'm immediately loyal before we've even had any discussions about anything. It's just, I'm already talking about them to my family and my friends and all these things. And I've just been that type of girl, but that is not always the healthiest way to go. It is sometimes nicer. It is always nicer to truly get to know somebody in, in a friendly way, to know their true personality traits and who they are at a core, and not just surface level and what somebody shows you when they first meet you. It's because you listen to their lyrics and then you feel more connected to them. You feel like you know them, or like.
But I really don't. But I'm like, yeah, I do know you.
That's so normal to feel, even with like actors. You watch somebody in a movie and you're like, oh my God, I feel so connected. And it's like, it's the character. They're playing a character. That's not even them.
Right.
Like, it's just, you're seeing a physical body with a fake persona, and you're just, and it's so easy to do that.
We hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful.
And we hope you'll come back for more. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.